What's going on, everybody? This is Christopher here. Welcome back. Today, this is another reaction video. My last reaction video was on the TV spot trailer for the World Cup show, The Reptile. Now, and most of you guys know, Larry from Sister No used to has a series, which is now on, I don't know where it is. He's returning a series called the Mad Reptile. The Mad Reptile is coming back as we speak, and basically what that is like the Reptile basically reviewed shitty games, basically. So let's see how that goes. And he's reviewing, and it's all called That's the Mad Reptile Season 2 Episode 1 NFL Quarterback Club 97. Alright, I wonder how that's gonna go. So without further ado, let's get this started, shall we? By the way, I think this did come from the Reptile. Oh my gosh. That's kind of substance right there. That's a Reptile. Created by Larry Pinson III. What's that? Sega Saturns? Something from Sega Saturn. The Genesis. A webcam.
Oh boy. Let's talk about the Sega Saturn. Now here's a little backstory.
Okay.
Sega invented a CD-based add-on for the Genesis, which was a failure. And in 1992, Sega invented a Sega Model 1, which is an arcade system, which helped popularize the 3D graphics. And they even made 32-bit games for another Genesis add-on called the 32X, which was also a failure.
Right.
Instead of the 32X failure, Sega would invent a whole new game console, and it was known as the Sega Saturn. And it was released in 1995, which was the same year as the PlayStation. Now, even though the 2D graphics on the Sega Saturn was cool, it was still a bold-ass lie that Sega told. Why the fuck would it say that it's a 3D powerhouse when it was originally conceived as a 2D system?
I don't know.
Regardless, this was actually a great game system for its time, despite the fact that, it did fail earlier in its lifespan.
Right.
I normally don't review consoles on this show, but for the sake of this review, I want to talk about the console itself. First off, it actually does have a pretty nice design. It's just a rectangular game console with a CD tray
it has
that you
like
can
USB
actually
ports.
see, but it's barely painted. And it even says Sega Saturn right off the top of it as well. Another thing you might have noticed is that the buttons are oval, which is actually not a problem, especially considering the fact that there was a Model 2, which actually had the circular buttons controller. I don't even know why it had that, but that's not important. So obviously it has two controller ports in the front of the bit, and you have to actually buy a separate accessory in order to have 4 players, kind of like the PlayStation Multitap.
Right.
It even has a cartridge port on the top of it, which is actually used for not only saving games, but you could also use an import card in there to play import games on your American Saturn like mine.
Right.
And on the back of it, it's pretty much self-explanatory.
Wow.
There's an AC output, and there's an AV output, and there's even a link adapter as well. And there's also a backup battery port this is basically what helps save the game without cartridges and stuff. So it really works out. The only bad part about it is that once the battery dies out, is that you're not going to be able to save your games without a cartridge at the very least. The guy who actually sold me this Sega Saturn when I bought it for $40 in New Jersey, he actually gave me a new backup battery.
Cool.
But I'll actually get to that in a little bit. The bottom line, the console design looks pretty good. I still don't think it's not the best looking game console ever, but it does have a nice design at the very least. I'm not going to criticize the Saturn in any way. Instead, we're going to take a look at the only shitty game I own on Saturn. Let's take a look at NFL Quarterback Club 97. So this is the only sports game that I have for the Saturn, so let's pop this fucker in and give it a go. So it's a sports game, obviously, with 2D graphics and a 3D perspective. A lot of the earlier football games actually had this look. The Madden NFL games is a prime example, even Tecmo's Super Bowl. But I'm getting off topic. Right. Now, from the very moment you start the game, it looks like it could be fun, but the problem comes in immediately once you start playing. First of all, notice how slow the game looks. It doesn't aesthetically feel like it has that fast-paced gameplay like many of the other earlier football games had. We'll get to them when we get to them. Okay. Before we actually continue on with more of this review, should I also point out that did you know same people that developed WWF Warzone, Iguana Entertainment, was behind this game too?
No, I didn't know that.
If you want to be coincidental, both games were made by Iguana Entertainment and Acclaim. Huh. I think I just now found out why WWF Warzone was never that good of a wrestling game. But again, I'm getting off topic.
Yes.
Not only that, but the graphics suck balls too. But we'll get to that later on.
Yeah.
What do you think the A button is for? Hiking the ball? Wrong. It changes players. Why?
I don't even know.
B button fake hikes the ball, and the C button snaps the ball. This sort of makes sense because games like Daytona USA uses the C button to select things. I don't know why, but it should be A. And on top of that, this is a football game, not a Sega arcade game.
Oh, shit.
The XYZ buttons.
Oh, shoot. Sorry about
Very
that.
much to say about that. Let's discuss the graphics. They're horrible! It doesn't look any better than Joe Montana Football on Sega Genesis. And that was 16-bit. This is a 32-bit console we have here that's missing 16 more fucking bits. And it doesn't even look as clear as that game once did. Right. Another problem with the game is that the players move slower than a girl trying to have an orgasm. The sound is very poor, and the players don't even move fluently either. It says on the back of the cover of the game, it has next-gen graphics, NFL realism, and gritty-on gameplay. Why the fuck would they lie about how the actual game looks like?
That actually is illegal, actually.
You are nothing but a bunch of schemes. Why would you fucking lie like that? EA Sports weren't joking about Madden NFL 97, which came out the same year, and that game played better than this game ever did. One information I should give you about the game is that you can actually have 12 players playing this game.
Well,
Jesus Christ, it would be much as trying to have 12 people trying to play PUBG 3D. And I'll have to remind you how bad that game is. You can even select a quarterback, but you probably already knew that. Another thing I should mention is that when you pick a play, you have to hit a button double time even after you select a play, whether to flip play or just start a play. I picked a play, so I obviously want that. If I would have flipped it, I probably would have pressed one of the trigger buttons like in the future Madden games. Right. It either has to be B or Z. But this is the least of our problems. Another thing that's frustrating about the gameplay is that the fumbling happens often sometimes. I mean, sometimes you could be running around with the ball, then all of a sudden, it just fumbles right out of your hands. Sometimes it just happens so often to the point where you just become so annoyed. One of the things that I also know about the game is that none of the players either get tired or injured. And we all know
That's
that
insane.
in real life, if an NFL player was playing for this too long or landed so awkwardly, that one player would be severely injured.
Or
But
have a
this game doesn't
concussion.
have any of that.
That's,
It seems like the Madden games
the vast
have
majority
more
of football
NFL
players
realism than
actually
this
gets
piece
a
of shit.
concussion a lot of times.
I also heard something about the playbooks of each team also being the same, but I never actually really got around that.
Okay.
The biggest issue for me personally is how slow the gameplay is. It seems like I'm playing like shit, but I'm actually trying my best. The gameplay is slow as fuck. Like I said before, it's slower than a girl trying to have an orgasm. It's slower than watching a puppy's pubic hair grow out of its penis. Except that was a bit far-fetched. But, yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, after much patience in the game, I finally got a touchdown. But unfortunately, that's probably like the only good thing I felt about this game. Other than that, I never had fun with this game at all. What the hell happened?
I don't know.
Tecmo Super Bowl, which was actually a football game that came out on NES during the early 90s, made its way to the PlayStation in 1996, the same year this game was out. And that game actually played perfectly. The same thing goes for Madden NFL 97. That game played well as well. So what happened here? This is just a sorry excuse for a football game. While not being a hardcore sports gaming fan, let me tell you something. Madden NFL is way better than NFL Quarterback Club, or whatever the hell this shitty game is called. Basically, the phrases, next-gen graphics, NFL realism, and green-on gameplay describes how Madden NFL is. NFL Quarterback Club is nothing but a bunch of shitty graphics, horrible sounding, slow gameplay, and that's the end of it.
Right.
This game is fucking shit.
In conclusion, the Sega Saturn may not have been the best game system at the time. Personally, I would believe it was the PlayStation 1, but the Sega Saturn did have massive potential and being a great 3D powerhouse. It's just that it came at the wrong time, especially when PlayStation was really dominating the market around that time. So, even though it's gone, it did have a few crappy games, but I still say the Sega Saturn was still a good game system for its time. Nothing more else to say about it. It's just a console that you don't own, definitely buy it. I actually purchased this console for $40 in New Jersey. I'm dead serious. Most sites usually sell it for like either $60 or $70, but I paid $40 for this thing. And the best part about it is the guy who sold me this gave me a new backup battery, as I explained earlier. So it's really good to actually have a fully functional Sega Saturn. It really does work. It's definitely a great game system, but not as good as the PS1, definitely worth it. Well, nothing more else to say. This is your friendly neighborhood Reptile signing off. Stay cool and unstable. That is, if you're mad as I am.
Right.
But at the same time, be considerate. I'm out. I'm snaking.
Alrighty. Let me get rid of that. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this reaction video. When I think about it, that was a good comeback to the Mad Reptile. Good job, Mr. Reptile and Larry. And Larry too. Anyways guys, if you guys are watching, subscribe to Shizzle Network. He'll make more. That's a Mad Reptile pretty soon. That's pretty a long series to be honest with now. He'll make more. That's a Mad Reptile series soon, but don't pester him, okay? He will make it as soon as he can. Alright? But the moment I watched the episode, I was waiting for the reptile to be triggered, but that didn't happen. But hey, it's the first comeback of the episode. You never know what's gonna happen. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for this reaction video. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video coming soon. Oh yeah, stay tuned tomorrow for a live stream for Valentine. Oh yeah, stick around on my live. Stay tuned tomorrow for a live stream for a special live stream for Valentine's Day tomorrow. Stick around for that. I'll see you guys in the next video coming soon. Peace out.